everyone. We are back here live at Hogue Foothill Ranch, the lifestyle program. My name is Mona Cabrera, and I am a registered dietitian here. And every Tuesday we have a nutrition topic. So today we are going to be talking about intermittent fasting, otherwise known as time-restricted eating. It's very popular in the health and fitness world, but does it have any true health benefits, or is it just a fad? So I'm sure you guys are all wondering about this, so I hope you're joining here. And if you haven't subscribed yet to our Hogue YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button so you can get the notifications on when we're going live, and we have videos every day of the week. So first we're going to explore the science behind intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a popular dietary practice. You'll see it all over the social media. You'll see cavemen eating in a 4-hour window, all their calories. Some are fasting to help with weight loss, improve their athletic performance, improve their disease prevention, improve cognition. But are the benefits worth the hype? So let's first talk about fasting and feeding, what they are and what's happening in our body. So fasting, when you are practicing abstinence from food for a period of time, your body will rest and repair during this time, and there's a decrease in growth and reproduction. And during feeding, when you're eating, you'll see an increase in reproduction and a decrease in rest and repair. So I first wanted to talk about feeding and fasting, those differences. And intermittent fasting is fasting basically alternating between a shorter period of eating and fasting, usually like 12 to 24 hours. And resting between meals is the way we should normally eat. But the average American typically is eating all day and going through the evening and into the night hours. So that's what a typical American has been eating, but typically resting between meals is what we should be doing. So with fasting and intermittent fasting, there's been a lot of research over many years on animals and rodents. So they found over a lifetime that there were benefits, and those rodents did live longer when they practiced intermittent fasting. But the research on humans has been quite short, only in the past decade or so. So there's still a lot to learn in terms of intermittent fasting and the benefits for humans. So let's talk about the different types of fasting, intermittent fasting, because there are many types. So I'm going to talk about 4 different ones today. You've probably heard about them. So the first one is the 16-18 fast. So that's where typically you will skip breakfast, you wake up, skip breakfast, and then eat your meals between 12 and 8. So you're eating between an 8-hour period. And there's some varieties to that, it's not like a strict rule. So number 2 is the 5-2 diet. This is a fast diet where you eat 5 days normally, and then you fast on 2 days that are non-consecutive. And you can also eat, if you're not going to fast on those 2 days, you can eat a little bit, 25% of your daily calorie needs. So anywhere between 250 to 500 calories. So that's the 5-2 fast, where you eat normally for 5 days and you're fasting on 2 non-consecutive days. Then the third type is the alternate day fasting. And that's just what it sounds like. You're 1 day on and 1 day off. So 1 day you eat normally and 1 day you're fasting. And then the fourth type of intermittent fasting is the spontaneous meal skipping. So this is not a structured intermittent fasting plan, but it does have its benefits. So for example, it's skipping meals from time to time, such as if you're traveling and you don't see anything healthy healthy that you want to eat, skipping that meal is fine. Or if you wake up one morning and you're just not hungry, skipping that breakfast is what this is, spontaneous meal skipping. You would skip that breakfast because you're not hungry. And that is also beneficial. So that's a spontaneous meal skipping. So it's really tuning into your hunger levels, and if you're not hungry, then skipping your meal. So now we're going to talk about, so that was 4 types of intermittent fasting. Now we'll talk about the benefits of fasting. So no doubt, intermittent fasting does improve our cardiometabolic health. It has shown to decrease our glucose and insulin levels. It has shown to decrease our blood pressure, improve our lipid profiles, decrease markers of inflammation and oxidative stress. So lots of benefits. These same benefits can also be obtained from just a typical weight loss, traditional calorie restrictive diet. So they both have these benefits. But does intermittent fasting have any unique benefits, or increased benefits over this simple calorie restrictive diet? So in terms of weight loss, no, there's no extra benefits. But the research does show that intermittent fasting also does not increase our metabolism. That's what I was going to say. Intermittent fasting does not increase our metabolism, doesn't increase the amount of calories we burn. The weight loss seen in intermittent fasting is because people are reducing the number of hours, the window that they're eating their meals in, and so this results in eating less calories because we're reducing the window that we're eating. So oftentimes a lot of people, that helps them cut out the late night eating after 8 p.m., the mindless snacking in the evening. Some people are eating up till midnight, so you can see it decreases the amount of hours that we are consuming calories. So then they do see the weight loss. So that's great, right? Intermittent fasting does reduce our hunger, and that is due to a reduced hormone called ghrelin, our hunger hormone, and that is not seen in calorie restrictive diets. So intermittent fasting does decrease our hunger because of the ghrelin hormone. So that's a benefit. There's also benefits to, there was a study done on women who had diabetes, and with every 3-hour increase in their nightly fasting, they had a 20% reduction in their A1C levels, which is a marker of diabetes. There was another study done in breast cancer women that had breast cancer, and if they fasted less than 13 hours, they had a 36% increase in breast cancer reoccurrence. So you can see there are some benefits to the fasting. So those are just a few studies that I wanted to mention. So now on to the timing of the fast may be important. So your timing of your fasting. So more research, men with prediabetes, if they ate in a 6-hour window and stopped after 3 p.m., showed improved insulin sensitivity, beta cell function, decreased blood pressure, decreased appetite, but all without weight loss. But they did show these improvements. On the research on the late time restricted, all the meals were eaten after 4 p.m. There was no positive results and no worse results. Of course, insulin sensitivity and beta cell function metabolism peak in the morning, in our AM hours. So as the time goes on, these do decrease as the day goes on. So fasting in the morning and only eating in the evening puts us out of our sync with our circadian rhythm. So it's very important that fasting is done correctly to have its benefits. So that's a little bit about intermittent fasting. I want to talk a little bit about who should not be doing intermittent fasting. It's very important to know. You may fall into one of these categories. So if you have a medical condition, for example, type 2 diabetes, if you're fasting, you may have some hypoglycemic events. So it's really important to be very careful and talk to your doctor first, especially if you're on medications. It's inappropriate. Intermittent fasting can be inappropriate for people who are taking some medications that are time sensitive and have to be timed with food at certain times of the day. So be very careful with that. The third group of people would be pregnant women, right? So intermittent fasting can lead to weight loss, and as a result can affect your fetal growth, have probably inappropriate fetal growth. So be very, very careful if you're pregnant. And the last issue about it is intermittent fasting sustainable. Talk about sustainability a lot. So how long can you do this? So the research in fasting, so weight loss from dieting and cutting back on calories and restricting fasting isn't much better. So you have to find what's sustainable for you. I just remembered one group of people who should not practice intermittent fasting are people who have a history of eating disorders, because it can really set you back, prolapse you back to some of the eating disorder habits. So those are 4 groups. If you have a medical condition, pregnant women, and if you're taking medications that are time sensitive, and if you have a history of eating disorder. So be very careful. So now let's talk about the types of fasting and what is the best. So there are so many different types, we know that, and both calorie restricted diets and fasting show that you can show benefits for weight loss, and they also have potential metabolic benefits. So if it's done properly, if intermittent fasting is done properly, and you can stick to it, that's better than eating around the clock. So it really helps people narrow down their hours in which they're consuming their calories. I recommend just common sense fasting, right? After dinner, stopping your eating and going to breakfast where you're going to break your fast. And then 1 to 2 times a year, practice a fasting, just for general health, improve general health, decrease chronic conditions. Intermittent fasting is a great tool to have in your box. Lots of health benefits, and helps a lot of people improving their health. So that's a little summary of intermittent fasting, and if it's sustainable for you, then it's a great tool for you. And I didn't mention exercise, but that's also a very important tool to put in your toolbox. So there's lots of different intermittent fastings. Some are more restrictive than others, but it's most important to really see if it's something sustainable for you. Some people that practice intermittent fasting will do it for a short period of time and see some weight loss, but then relapse, stop their intermittent fasting, and gain their weight back and gain even more back, which is worse on your health than just maintaining weight. So it's really important to, if you're going to practice intermittent fasting, to really see if it's one appropriate for you and your health, and if it's sustainable for you. And if you have any questions on intermittent fasting, and just shout out, send me a question in the box below. I'll be happy to answer. And that's our nutrition topic for Wednesday, and there's a lot of, there's research out there if you need a little bit more information on intermittent fasting. But if you're one of my patients, I'm happy to answer any questions when I see you here at the Lifestyle Program in Foothill Ranch. So that comes to the end of today's topic. It's Friday. I will be back making we'll be doing a cooking demo here, but we have exercise videos every day. I hope you guys are tuning in and doing some of those workouts at home during this pandemic. It's super important to stay active. And that's about it. Thank you, as always, for joining me here for our live YouTube nutrition topic.